But let me ask you just, I mean, because I'm sure people out there are like, what the hell, like now that they know that you're part of it.
Explain yourself.
Yeah, well, more so, why don't you tell us about some of your experience? I mean, now that the cat's out of the bag, so to speak, like what was your experience like on set? Do you remember any of that? Or was it like when you first started looking at these to review, did you know that you were on the set of these and you wanted to really just...
I remember, I can't remember how exactly I probably found out about it. I found out about it because, West Coast Wrestling Connection, which you and I have both worked for at times, I was working for them at the time, and the promoter, I guess, had some deal with Sean Kane, and that's why he wore the hat, and the ring was rented out there. So I think there was just kind of an open call for us, the talent, because I was managing there at the time. I was like, hey, there's this call for extras and everything, for audience, security, whatever. And there's also a battle royal, so the wrestlers were picked for it. And I actually volunteered. I said to the promoter, hey, do you mind if I bring my tights and I could be in the battle royal too? And he basically just gave me this 1,000-yard stare. He wanted to kill me for daring to ask, should I be in the battle royal? He's like, I would fire you on the spot if you did. Okay, fine, dick, whatever.
Wow.
So, yeah, well, that's one of the many problems I have with that promoter, which is why I don't work there anymore. But basically, I was there for a long time. I know that other people were there for longer, and I remember witnessing most of the matches being filmed. I don't think I stuck around long enough for the final two matches. The finals of Shane Douglas and Abyss, or I should say Abyss and Stevie Richards. I don't think I stuck around for those, but I was there for the opening with the Battle Royal. I was watching an In the Wings for that, right. And I was there for the Tommy Dreamer Shane Douglas match, and I got to witness them trying to mime the enthusiasm from the crowd, while they had pretending for the crowd noise to be there in post. Yeah. I remember at one point I was just asking around, hey, if there's anything I can do to help, let me know. And Sean asked me to get a hard drive for him, because I guess they needed it for the footage they're collecting. They needed to dump their memory cards. Mm-hmm. And I was nervous about that, because at the time I did not have a very good sense of direction, and I did not, GPS wasn't really prevalent back then, and I wasn't a good driver at the time. I'm a much better driver now than I was, but getting around Portland, even though I grew up there, is still kind of terrifying to me.
Right.
So it's you want me to go to Vancouver, Washington, to this electronics store and buy a hard drive? I do not feel comfortable doing that. So I felt like I kind of dropped the ball on that one too.
You said that?
Not, in so many words, but I was
Brian, you're just, what the hell were you doing there?
I don't know, right? I was there looking to get a shot in a movie.
I guess
that's all it was.
Standing there looking pretty.
Yeah, pretty much. And I looked pretty dumb saying I couldn't drive, the 20 minutes to Vancouver. And I also felt pretty dumb doing even in the moment of that scene where the securities are breaking it up. I knew that this is going to be bad, because I was getting in there. I had nothing to do. I couldn't break up a fight. Right. I was stay apart, ladies.
Right.
And everyone else taking care of. There's at least two guys on each woman in that scene, holding them back. So it's I was just totally useless, and I wore the exact wrong shirt for a security guard thing. I took my glasses off. That was the one thing I did to look more secure.
Oh dear Lord. Yeah. They wouldn't hit a man in glasses, would they?
Yes, I didn't know how much the fists were going to be flying, so I wanted to preserve myself. I will always remember being backstage, and I got to meet some of the wrestlers and just say hi and stuff, take some pictures, as you saw in the video. I did meet Dawn Marie at one point that day, because she had the one scene in the movie, and I don't even know how the topic came up, but
she was there and got flown in for one freaking scene.
Yeah, that was the story with so many of these wrestlers. Scotty 2 Hotty was in the movie, didn't even do the worm. I'm what a waste of Scotty 2 Hotty if you're gonna fly him in.
Was he?
Yeah, he was there because he and Lodi beat up Ricky Morton after the Battle Royal, and then they had their match, right. And that was literally it. There were no scenes with them, not even written in the script, because people were asking in the comment section, am I the one who had the script this whole time? No, it was another one of the wrestlers who did help me out with also, because he was in UDM 1 as well, so I got to have a little bit extra, backstory from both those movies with him. So I didn't know. That was not my copy of the script. I never got one. So it was, but I can't remember how it even came up. I think I just mentioned to Dawn, I'm a manager in the area and everything. And she literally went into this big spiel about wrestler health insurance. And she gave me all these prescription drug discount cards, a stack.
Good RX. And
a stack an inch thick. And she just gave it to me. It's please feel free to hand these out to some of the wrestlers because it's discount prescriptions and everything. And I'm part of this this coalition, and we're trying to. Basically, she sounded like I forget who she was working with, but it sounded like something where it's like trying to do something vaguely similar to a union at the time. So
she got that Zelina Vega heat.
Clearly, this whole push for a union, it's been around for a long time. It's not just a Zelina Vega thing. It's been going on for a very long time. But that was kind of what she was doing. And I remember like a few days later, we had a WC show, and there was the opening announcement, the pre-show meeting with the promoter and everything. And then like, does anyone have any questions? And I went, hi, Dawn Marie gave me these prescription cards. Everyone just mobs me to take these cards.
Oh, dear God.
So that was, my brush with Dawn Marie is her giving me the cards. And then everyone wanted a piece of that. It was so funny. There was all this confusion over how the crowd should respond during the matches. And so like first it was like, just yell and scream the whole time at the Battle Royal. Everyone was just like bouncing off the walls and stuff. They were crazy. And then they're like, okay, second match. It's getting dark. It's being filmed in January, so we lose the light. We had a lot of natural daylight coming in that building at the time. We're losing the light, and like how are we going to do this thing with the crowd, because like we have this dialogue, and like their mics aren't working. Like I couldn't tell from listening because I didn't have the headsets or anything, but like you watch that movie and like there's not one microphone that's working properly.
Oh God!
So
the audio's so fucked up on that whole thing.
They probably had to figure out a workaround, which is why they're like, okay, just pretend to cheer and stuff and hoot and holler. But that's so funny because then when you watch the movie and see them doing that, you can see so many of them just forget or lose energy. I don't blame them because they're there for a long time. The crowd, like the extras were there, and I think you could see the number of them dwindle as the movie goes on because they filmed everything in sequence. So like it starts out with a nice gathering of people there, and then by the end it's like cut in half because everyone's tired and wants to go home.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was. I met Larry Zbyszko. I vividly recall like shaking hands with him like outside the building. I think he was having a smoke or something. I think it was the first time I ever saw a Ribera Steakhouse jacket like in person, because he was wearing his red Ribera Steakhouse jacket. I thought that was so cool, and I don't think I've ever seen an authentic one like in the flesh before. So
that's awesome.
That's kind of cool. He just rocks that. I mean, I would totally do that. Oh my God!
They had one at WrestleCon a couple years ago. I almost bought, but it was like $350.
Was it an authentic one or a bootleg? Do you know?
I think it was authentic.
Okay.
And that's why it was so much.
See,
maybe I'm wrong.
I feel bad about the idea of just buying a jacket because that's not earned. Like the whole Ribera jacket, it's a badge of honor. You go to Japan, and if you're good enough, they give it to you. And like that's the dream, I think, if you're a wrestler. But it's like to buy one, it's like that almost seems like, I don't want to say stolen valor, but that's kind of what it reminds me of, where it's like you didn't earn that. What are you talking about?
Well, it's funny because one generation will think of the Ribera jacket and they'll think of guys like Zbyszko and all that, but my ass, I still think about Southpaw Wrestling.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Or it's like, Anthony Green, back when I worked with him before he got signed to Evolve and then NXT, he had like, his gimmick was retro Anthony Green, and like he wore the Zubas, and he also had like a custom made like faux Ribera jacket where it's like, it looks kind of like it, but it's like, it's got his name on it and stuff. Oh, okay. So it's like, that's pretty cool. Like I like the way of kind of like taking that iconic design and kind of making it your own. But yeah, meeting Zbyszko was cool. Met DiBiase. It's funny because I think about a year later we had the infamous time where he faved the both of us at Cauliflower Alley.
Oh yeah.
they shot with really good equipment. Like I could see the cameras. They had a red camera. Those things are stupid expensive, and they're like, at the time, like they were top of the line. So they filmed with really good equipment that just had no idea how to use it, and that's the problem. It's like you can have the best, fanciest equipment, but like they didn't know how to light, they didn't know how to direct audio. All they knew was how to shoot. The filming was okay. I'd say it was probably like middle of the road between like part 1, they really didn't know what they were doing. Part 2, they filmed at the Danny Davis Arena, so I think they had people there who knew how to film wrestling. And part 3 felt like some kind of, we're in the middle where they were all kind of framed correctly, and it was fine. But some of the choices they had for where they put the cameras was interesting. Like that hard cam they had up in the balcony, but it was like at an angle. So it was kind of like that WCW game for the Super Nintendo where it's not like flush. It's funny because I was doing a little bit more research about in the days leading up to the video coming out, and there was some behind the scenes stuff from like the Rock radio station in town did some behind the scenes footage of the movie, and it was just 2 scenes with the guy who plays the FBI agent, and he's just like, all right, we're here on the set of Ultimate Deathmatch 3, making the magic happen, man. Like, oh, this is Sean Kane, he's my good bud, he puts me in all his movies. I couldn't be in the one in Louisville, but yeah, man, we're gonna have a good time here. And then like it was just the most awkward stuff. I'm like, whatever your day job is, man, don't quit it.
Right. He's like the Dennis Stamp of the film industry. He's just trying to get a spot.
Right. I'd be in your shitty movie, man, but you didn't book me in it, so I'm just gonna jump on this trampoline for a while. Like, it was.
Want to hear more? Subscribe to This Week in Regret on YouTube for full episodes of the podcast, dropping every Thursday night. Don't forget, we're also on SoundCloud.